to Mike's Garage. And Happy New Year to you. I am shooting this on New Year's Day, but you guys are going to probably see it tomorrow on the 2nd. Anyway, I've got something really special for you today. Something very retro. So let's take a look at it. Today I've got a blast from the past for you. This is something that you probably haven't seen on the roads for quite a while, but back in the 90s, this was a staple of the American suburbs. This is a 1992 Dodge Grand Caravan LE. It has the 3.3-liter V6 engine. It makes about 150 horsepower and about 185 foot-pounds of torque. This is just something that you don't see much anymore, probably because they didn't last and people just used them up and got rid of them. But I found this car very interesting. I've tried to buy it, but the owners do not want to sell it. However, they did say it was okay to do a video on it. I just saw the colors of this and just so 90s retro with the graphics along the side, the cladding, and it actually carries in onto the interior, which I'll show you in a minute. Very comfortable to drive as well. Anyway, this has the 3.3-liter V6, which was the most powerful of the 4 engines that were offered this year. It does have front-wheel drive and a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, it is a little bit dirty. This car is neglected. It just sits outside. It's not used very much, but the people who own it do have a bit of an attachment to it. And it actually caught my eye, too, so I can totally understand that. Anyway, this car does have an 18-gallon fuel tank, and it gets about 18 miles per gallon, which isn't too bad for the day. It was built in June of 92, so this was probably one of the last 92s produced. This is the second generation of the Dodge Grand Caravan. 1991 to 1995 was this generation. And it's the same as the Chrysler Town & Country and the Plymouth Voyager and Grand Voyager. So this was built on the Chrysler AS platform. Like I said, which shared the platform with Chrysler, Dodge, Plymouth, and in Europe they made these as well. I couldn't tell you what they were called in Europe. I think the Lancia Voyager or something like that was one of them. Anyway, like I said, this is the LE model, which was the highest trim level you could get, and it added things like heated mirrors, a tachometer, overhead console, some under-the-seat storage, and things like that. You know, I just found this so interesting, and I haven't seen one for so long, but it's just so 80s. And it looks like it's in good shape, but it's not all that great. But it's still on the road. It still runs and drives just fine, apart from the ABS light on. Now, like all of these early minivans, it only has a sliding door on the passenger side. But it's perfectly good to get in and out. My assumption for the reason they did that was because they figured it was easier just to get out on the curb side. But the newer minivans find it more useful to have it on both sides, and in a lot of cases it is. So now, let's take a look at this really retro 90s interior. All right, we'll start in the back. This is what really I found so cool. It has this design which mimics the design on the outside on these very comfortable velour captain's chairs. Sorry for the low light. I have to film indoors today as it is raining, sleeting, and snowing here in Chicago. When we get outside, we'll take a little bit of a better look. And there is the very 90s interior. It does have the Infinity sound system, which was kind of a staple of Chrysler. I had it in my 96 Sebring convertible. These armrests are awesome. They're always so comfortably placed. All right, let's go take this outside, get it on the road, take it for a ride, and look at the interior a little bit more. Okay, here we are outside, so I figured I'd do a quick walk around. Like I said, this truck is very dirty. But very original. It hasn't been cut up or customized or anything like that. So, unfortunately, the Achilles heel to a lot of these vehicles here in the Midwest is rust. And this one is no exception. It does have, the typical rocker panel rust. It could be repairable if you wanted to spend the money on it. But the value of this vehicle is roughly about $400, so really no, not worth it. So that is the interior. You can see it a little better now. Typical Chrysler dash for this era. This truck has only 93,000 miles on it. Typical Chrysler controls, cup holders, cubby. And like I said, the LE model did add this overhead console. No fancy TVs or DVD players in here, just basic family transportation. Okay, now here we go for a ride in the 1992 Dodge Grand Caravan LE. All 150 horsepower. Now right off the bat, this vehicle does have an exhaust leak that I can hear. Although not really much else besides the anti-lock brake light that's on here. All of the gauges seem to be working. It does need a detail, that's for sure. It has been, I think, sitting out under a tree for quite a while, so it's got moss growing on parts of it. It is pulling to the left a little bit. The steering's a little bit wonky. But overall, this is a very comfortable vehicle to drive. Now, like I said earlier, I had a 1996 Sebring convertible, which is very similar seats. Always very comfy, cushioned. As I've ranted before on new cars that just have to be sporty, this one was just comfort. Just enjoy, the family trips, running around, picking up the kids at soccer practice and all of that. So it was very comfortable. That's what it was supposed to be. I wish more new cars were like that. There aren't very many of them. But this one, it certainly fits the bill, especially for 1992. Again, I love the pattern on the seats, the different colors. I just think it's very cool and retro. I don't know, I guess I'm showing my age because that's, when I was in high school. We didn't have a minivan. We had station wagons. We were the old station wagon people. We hadn't gotten all modern with the minivans. And still haven't. I still drive a station wagon. Visibility is excellent, obviously, windows all around. It does need new wiper blades, but that's okay. That's just simple, easy maintenance stuff to replace. I said this does have 93,297 miles on it, and it's not really used much anymore. I would love to buy this. Its value is roughly about $360 if I look it up correctly. So, not a high value car, but if I got this for a few $100, that'd be fun to run around in. And plus, you got plenty of space back here. I might even spend the money and fix the rust. If I'm doing it myself, or if I can find these rocker panels fairly cheap, maybe I'll learn how to weld. But it does have an electronic trunk release here. Obviously, the typical Chrysler AM/FM cassette radio. Heater controls are very simple and straightforward. Plenty of little cubby spaces in here to put maps and other things that you might need. Overall, a great minivan. And, it's not too big. It doesn't feel a little crazy. I know the paint is fairly worn. Unfortunately, a lot of the paint is chipping off, at least on the hood. But give this car a good detail. That might look good to take it to a car show because the rust is hidden. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope you have a great 2021. Anything can be, I don't know if it can be worse than 2020. So let's just don't forget that year entirely. But anyway, so thank you very much for watching. Have a great 2021, and we'll see you next time.